I'm using Deco Art Outdoor Acrylic Paint. The color palette is wrought iron black, woodland brown, natural tan grout, antique mum, daisy cream, pine cone brown, golden honey, sprout green, and metallic gold. Begin painting woodland brown color on all the light areas of the head to give a uniform color base. Using a 1/2 inch flat paintbrush, paint the belly scales with the natural tan grout color. Start painting the light markings on the head and body with a thinned mixture of natural tan grout color to establish the pattern. I like to look on the internet to find good reference photos of the animals that I'm painting. The pattern on the head will vary from snake to snake, so use your imagination to make yours unique. I drew this diagram to roughly show the shape changes of the dark diamonds. As they near the tail, they become flatter and finally turn into bands. Paint a zigzag pattern on the sides of the snake. The upper tip of each zigzag should point to the center of the diamonds on the back. When the zigzag pattern is dry, make a transparent wash of natural tan grout for the next step. I use about a 5:1 ratio of water to paint. As you can see, I'm leaving an unpainted diamond in the center. All of the shades so far have been created by using varying ratios of water to paint. Using this technique, we have created a fairly realistic looking rattlesnake with only the natural tan grout color. Make sure to dry the paint completely between steps. Because we're making a Mojave green rattlesnake, we will paint on a transparent layer of green. This step can be skipped if you're making a regular diamondback. To do this, I mix a very transparent paint with a ratio of approximately 8 parts water to 1 part sprout green. This will just give a hint of green to the snake. It's important to paint one thin layer, keeping the paint wet and moving forward all the way. Don't paint over the green areas that have already begun to dry. After the green layers dry, make a mixture of 1 part wrought iron black and 2 parts woodland brown, and paint the perimeter scales of the dark diamond areas. Use the same black-brown mixture to paint dark areas on the belly scales. These markings correspond to the dark areas on the snake's sides. Here's what the snake should look like just before we begin to highlight the scales. Use pure wrought iron black to paint a thin defining line around the diamond shapes on the back. Use antique mum to highlight the edges of the light-colored scales. Use antique mum to paint the edges of the belly scales also. Working quickly, paint the rattles with natural tan grout. While the paint is still wet, add black to the first rattle and blend it as shown. If you want, you can paint a highlight on each scale with natural tan grout color. Paint the entire eye with woodland brown. While the paint is still wet, blend pine cone brown into the lower half of the eyeball and add a touch of golden honey to the very bottom rim of the eye. You'll have to work quickly as the acrylic paint dries fast. With a fine liner brush, paint the light area that surrounds the pupil with antique mum. Compare both sides to make sure they're symmetrical. Paint the pupil with black, leaving a very thin outline. Use reference photos for rattlesnake eyes and add as many extra details as you want. I'm adding a dark area down the center on each side of the pupil. I use a super thinned out metallic gold paint to achieve a slightly gold sheen over the painted eyes, being careful not to add too much and hide the underpainting. The color Daisy Cream is used as an accent around the dark patterns. Also, as I near the end of the tail, I use it to create the greatest contrast in the last few light stripes. I also paint the last few dark stripes completely black. Inspect the shaft and sand if necessary, and dust it thoroughly. Apply a coat of wood conditioner to the shaft before staining. I use Minwax Red Oak Stain. Start at the top and work quickly to the bottom. Be careful not to get it on the painted snake carving. If it does get on the snake, you can remove it with paint thinner. The stain needs to dry 4 to 6 hours before applying a second coat. I usually give the stain a couple of days to dry before I apply the first coat of polyurethane to the shaft, the eyes, and the rattles. I like to back brush to break up the bubbles that form in the polyurethane. After the first coat of polyurethane is dry, I use 600 grit or finer sandpaper to gently remove any embedded dust or dry air bubbles before applying another coat. To protect the painting on the body of the snake carving, use Rust-Oleum Soft Touch matte polyurethane. It goes on milky but dries clear and feels silky to the touch. Thank you for watching this series on how to make a rattlesnake walking stick. I hope you'll find this information helpful in making your own walking stick.